Hey everybody, this is Mace1370 back for another RTR84 draft. Okay, so for this pack we have a few options. We have Annihilating Fire, which is a pretty good removal spell. Trestle Troll is a good card in Golgari. There's also Tristani's Judgment, Centaur's Herald is very good, Courser's Accord's okay. Teleportal is also very strong. So I think if I had to pick out the most powerful card, it would likely be Teleportal. I don't like first picking a card that just shoves me right into Izzet though. So Centaur's Herald might be the better pick. I prefer to be in Selesnya, and if I can end up there, that would be great. So I'll probably take the Centaur's Herald here. My experience with Izzet is that it has to be like really open for you to get a viable deck. This is tough. Now I'm leaning back towards Teleportal again just because it is a stronger card. Now I'm just going to take the strongest card in the pack. We'll see what's open and what's not. Alright, well here's a Frostburn Weird. If I had taken the Centaur's Herald, I would have taken the Axebane Guardian. Here I'm just going to take the Frostborn Weird, and I guess we're just going to plunge right on into forcing Izzet, and maybe we'll get there. Like I said earlier, this is a guild that I think you really have to get the right cards. Couple Weirds, couple Lava Crews, Pursuit of Flights are really key. Cards like Teleportal are extremely helpful to give you reach to finish the game off. The deck is kind of swingy. Sometimes you'll blow your opponent out, other times it just doesn't work out so well. Here, pretty clearly just taking Splatter Thug. Our opponents passed us a Frostborn Weird and a Splatter Thug, so I think it's pretty good chance that at least one person passing to us is not in red. Looks like an uncommon and a common are gone. There is a mythic in this pack, so some people took a common over Splatter Thug, and there's not too many red commons you would take if you're in Izzet above it. Okay, this pack, less exciting for Izzet. There's a Gutter Snipe, which we could take. There's also a Stab Wound. So this is a dilemma for me. I mean, Stab Wound is pretty clearly a stronger card here. Frostborn Weird can work in Rakdos as well, and you can splash blue for Teleportal in Rakdos. I think that's very viable. I think Stab Wound is better enough than Gutter Snipe that I'm just going to take the Stab Wound. I'm not so sold on Izzet that I'm just going to take every single card like a Gutter Snipe, which, don't get me wrong, is a very solid card, but Stab Wound is definitely a bit above. And if we get past the Stab Wound that late, there's a chance that black is definitely open and we want to go in that direction. So here I think between Ash Zealot and Ogre Jailbreaker, this is kind of a tough call. I think we need to prioritize our 2-drops, and Ash Zealot is a pretty good 2-drop, so I'm going to take that. But Ogre Jailbreaker is definitely a good card. This one's foil too. It's fancy. So yeah, not necessarily going Rakdos. We're just going to see what flows and what our options are. This pack is not very good for us. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like going into one of these guilds. Prim Roustabout is okay. It's probably one of the best cards in this pack for us. Dynacharge is an option, but we just don't have that much evasion at the moment, so we'll just take the Roustabout. Roustabout is one of the better guys you can throw a Deviantly on, so he's okay. Not super thrilled about playing him, but it's also like a little awkward that we have effectively 2 double red cards if we're in Rakdos at this point. And if we are in Rakdos, we need to prioritize Izzet Guildgate so we can play our Teleportal, because I definitely think it's worth playing Teleportal in Rakdos if you can afford to. Okay, well this is an extremely light Splatter Thug, so pretty happy to take this. It seems like I can say for sure that red is open at this point. I think that's a safe assumption. Now, if black or blue are open, that's another story. We haven't really seen much blue. We saw a Tower Drake in the previous pack. I guess we could have taken that if we were debating about going Izzet. I didn't really think about that. I just kind of took the Grim Roustabout since we'd already taken the Stab Wound. I think the pick between those 2 cards is close, but I mean here it's clearly Splatter Thug. There's no competition in that pack for us. Okay, here we don't really have any good options. Chemist's Trick is okay. I really prefer not to play it though. Paralyzing Grasp is alright. Electrickery is an okay sideboard card. So I'm trying to think, what is most likely to make my deck. I guess probably Electrickery in the sideboard. Batterhorn is an option. Maybe I just take the Batterhorn for a dude. But I'm not thrilled to play Batterhorn. And to be honest, I could probably pick something like him up later. I think the Electrickery is an okay sideboard card, so we'll go ahead and take that. Okay, so the Trestle Troll tabled, which is a good signal that black might be open, or at the very least Golgari. You know, if there was a Golgari player, they probably would have taken this card out of the pack. But Perilous Shadow is a decent 4-drop if we end up in Rakdos, so I'm going to take that. I still haven't decided if I'm Rakdos or if I'm Izzet. I think that'll just depend on, you know, pack 2 and pack 3. We're still fairly open. Izzet doesn't really like splashing, so, you know, we could splash for the Splatterthug, I guess, if we get a card that, you know, like a Guildgate that would let us do that. I don't mind playing one Perilous Shadow in Rakdos decks. These cards can be just really hard to deal with. Here we take Goblin Rally. This card, if you have the other things that synergize with it well, can be tough. You put a lot of pressure early on the opponent. This, along with Teleportal, obviously works pretty well. Okay, so here, I think we just take the Mizium Skin. Pretty easy choice. If we end up in Izzet, then Mizium Skin is a great card to play because you have the Pursuit of Flights, and it's, you know, nice to be able to protect those. Out of these 4, we don't really need a second Electrickery. Between Crosstown Courier and Runewing, I think we probably prefer the Runewing. Having a little bit of evasion is nice. We have one Perilous Shadow. I doubt we'll play 2, so I'm just going to take the Tenement Crasher. That might make our deck. I would prefer to play an Explosive Impact or something like that instead. So I think we have a decent start here. We could go really either way between the 2 guilds, and our red is very solid. Pretty obvious that red is open, just based on the Splatterthugs coming through. And I think I have noticed that Splatterthug does show up in a print run with Annihilating Fire, which is kind of frustrating. And, you know, it's very possible if you get a bunch of thugs and someone upstream from you is just taking the fires, but whatever. Okay, so for this pack, well, there's not a lot here for us. Azorius Arrestor, it's not even in this pack. Lay of Sky Knight is the best card, I think, by a significant margin, but we're not white, and we may or may not be blue. I think we just take Steam Vents here. If we end up in Izzet, it's a nice card to have. If we end up in Rakdos, then it helps play our Teleportal. And the nice thing about Steam Vents is this doesn't destabilize your mana base at all. I mean, it's just, because it can come into play untapped, you never have to worry about getting screwed. Okay, well, that's a Corrosive Guildmage and an Abrupt Decay. And a Dread Mangler. How much Golgari can we shove into a single pack? I'm not sure. But here we take Lava Crew. I think that's pretty straightforward. For us, the other cards that we might consider would be Launch Party. If we were in Rakdos, I mean, maybe you could splash one of these, but I don't think it's really worth it. So we'll take the Lava Crew. Okay, well there's a Rixmati Guildmage, and I think that might have just pushed me into Rakdos. So goodbye, several blue cards. Other good cards for us here, you know, obviously Dead Reveler and Annihilating Fire. If both of those are still in the pack, that indicates to me, along with the, what is this, 3rd pick Guildmage, that we're going to have a pretty good pack. Bluster Squall is not bad. Ogre Jailbreaker is good. So is a Guildgate. Alright, well, I think I'm going to take the Jailbreaker here. He's a very, very solid 4-drop. Granted, we need Guildgates, but we can probably pick those up, and we're going to probably want to get an Izzet Guildgate at some point. It's very tempting for me, because there's an Izzet Guildgate right here, but Ogre Jailbreaker is a great 4-drop in Rakdos, so we really want to pick one of those up. And this card is a huge miss for us. I guess we just take Cobble Brute. It's okay. You know, it's good with Pursuit of Flights and whatnot, if we get any of those, but... Okay, here we have, I guess, Dynacharge. It's not very exciting. We don't have enough double colors to make Civic Saber worth playing. So yeah, Dynacharge. Now that we have this guy, we need to really keep our eyes peeled for potential guild gates that let us enable him attacking. This card is a difficult one to draft because I don't always prioritize Guild Gates early, as you've seen in this draft so far. And you really want to get this guy when he comes around because he's a great card if he can attack. And just some drafts of the Guild Gates, they don't show up. Alright, well here's another Ogre Jailbreaker. Kind of wish I'd taken the Izzet Guild Gate now. But that's usually how drafting goes. You get one and then another comes around and you wish you'd taken the other card. That's okay, Ogre Jailbreaker is a good card. So now we just need to really keep our eyes out for a good Guild Gate to go with him. Probably want at least two. And the good news is that we have, a pretty solid base here. We don't need a whole lot out of future pack, pack 3 to get us there. And Deviant Glee here is a great sign, so happy to pick that up. May or may not play the Dino Charge. It's okay with Goblin Rally. This card is, good if you get a lot of early pressure and they just, you're getting damage through and then they're occasionally trading off creatures and stuff and you get them down to a situation where they're at low life and you just drop it and they just can't block all the goblins each turn. It can make it really good, especially if you have something like a Splatter Thug and play with a Deviant Glee on where they can't just take the, the 5 damage, they have to chump something. Alright. So we could take Slitherhead. I'm not super thrilled about playing him. We can't really play Stealer of Secrets. Terraswarm isn't an option. We don't need a second Tenement Crasher, and we don't need a second Dino Charge. So I'll take the Slitherhead just in case, I guess. Here's a Launch Party. I guess that works well with Slitherhead. And nothing really for us here. I guess we'll take the Catacomb Slug, and hopefully we don't have to run it. May or may not play Cobble Root at this point. We don't really have any ways of getting him through. Kind of a cool picture for Steam Vents. Alright, here we'll take Bellows Lizard. Again, hopefully we don't have to actually run it. I guess we'll take our Drainpipe Vermin. Poor Drainpipe Vermin has not found a home yet. So we don't really want any more 4-drops. We have 2 Ogre Jailbreakers and a Perilous Shadow, and we have no Guild Gates. So I guess we might need more 4-drops if we can't pick up Guild Gates in this third pack. So we need to keep our eyes out for that. Oh, Cremate, so much value. I remember when the format first got started, I didn't really know what I was doing, like most people, and so, you're taking a bunch of cards, and Cremate would routinely make my deck just because I needed filler cards and Cremate cycles. Thankfully, don't have to do that anymore. Alright, third pack. What do we want? Want something amazing. This is like the millionth Utarava Hellkite I've seen in the last couple drafts. Okay. Very little for us here, unfortunately. We don't want the Hellkite, if you're wondering. Best card in the pack, probably Void Wielder. Dramatic Rescue is really good. For us, we'll just take Pursuit of Flight. It's a decent enchantment in Rakdos. I think Deviant Glee is better in Rakdos. Pursuit of Flight's good, and especially since we're probably splashing blue for the teleport, we may have a Steam Vents anyways, we might even be able to activate it. So, bonus. You definitely want to be able to give your deck a little bit of reach, and cards like Deviant Glee and Pursuit of Flight can really help out with that. Okay, so for pick 2 here, pretty clearly Stab Wound. Nothing else for us, really. Still no Guild Gates for our Jailbreakers, but hopefully they'll come. Probably not going to wheel anything in this pack. It's pretty much all blue, white, and green cards. But at least we got a Stab Wound out of it, so happy about that. Okay, so here it's between Sewer Shambler and Gorehouse Chainwalker. I think Gorehouse Chainwalker is the better of these two guys. Sewer Shambler is definitely a good card. I'm happy to run it. Even in Rakdos, it's okay, because the scavenge cost is so low. I don't feel too terrible about throwing an enchantment on it and getting some early damage in, and then when they do, trade away for it, you get to scavenge again, which is nice. But 2 drops are pretty premium, and Gorehouse Chainwalker is one of the better ones. Wild Beastmaster is still in the pack. It can be a very strong card. Alright, here we just take, between Annihilating Fire and Traitorous Instinct. Annihilating Fire is definitely a better card. I think we probably just take it here. But Traitorous Instinct is definitely a card we want to get in our deck. It might wheel, because there's a Cobble Root and a Tenement Crasher here. The rest of the pack is pretty weak, though. But yeah, we just take the Annihilating Fire. Here we'll take a Lobber Crew. Still not seeing anything for our Ogre Jailbreakers, but we have enough cards that if we don't run them, it's not the end of the world. Okay, well, wish granted, because here's an Izzet Guildgate, so we're slamming that. And Deviant Glee, you know, is a good card, but we already have one. We already have a Pursuit of Flight. We want a second source for our Teleportal. Izzet Guildgate fits the bill. Oh, man. Traitor's Instinct or Explosive Impact? Well, I think these cards are pretty close. I'm just going to take the Explosive Impact. It can serve a very similar function to the Traitor's Instinct. And now we don't have to run Tenement Crasher, so hooray. Here we just take a Spawn of Rixmati. It's a decent 5-drop. I don't mind running one of these guys. And really nothing else we want in this pack. Rakdos Charm is pretty underwhelming as far as these charms go. I'm pretty sure it's the worst one out of all 5 of them, or 4 of them, however many there are. Out of all the charms, Rakdos came up short. Of course, there's a card in Fairy Imposter table. Wasn't really expecting that to happen. But Vishino Racketeer is an okay guy. Probably not going to run him. Out of all these cards, Hussar Patrol is annoying to play against. So is Mizium Skin, because it prevents our stab wounds from getting in there. Mizium Skin and Hussar, you can kind of play around both of them. I guess I would prefer them not to have the 4-drop that can block our guys. Here we'll take a Batterhorn, so I guess we're not getting that, no Traitor's Instinct. Out of all these, do I take the Cobble Brute because we're short on 4-drops? I might. Is it worth taking a Rakdos Charm? Probably not. Let's take the Cobble Brute. Oh, Rakdos Ringleader. Voted best card in the set. Not really. Quite the opposite. This guy... I guess you have to have those duds just so people, learn how to evaluate a good card from a bad card. This guy is clearly not good. 6 mana for a 3/1. Better have some pretty amazing abilities to make that worth it. He doesn't. Not amazing enough. I'm trying to think how much mana this guy would have to cost for him to be considered playable. Pretty sure at 5 mana he would still not be worth running. 4 mana, I guess, then he becomes good. So yeah, we have a lot of red. That's okay. Might be running the Cobble Brutes. They obviously work well with... Might be running the Goblin Rally too. The Cobble Brutes, they do go well with our Teleportal. Make sure to put that in, by the way. And I guess we'll put in our Guild Mage and our Spawn of Rixmati. Probably playing the Frostborn Weird. We have so much red. We're really leaning heavy red. That's why I'm a little hesitant to play the Perilous Shadow in this deck, simply because we don't have, playing double black is going to be pretty rough. We don't have that much black. We just have the stab wounds and, a few other cards. Okay, so likely playing 1 Cobble Brute. Dynacharge might get in there. We can play maybe 1 Jailbreaker. We do have 1 Guildgate, so that's not the worst. He does block, if anything. I don't think we can afford to play the second Ogre Jailbreaker, just because only having 1 Guildgate makes this guy a lot less exciting. So yeah, the second Cobble Brute is certainly an option. We do have, cards like Teleportal and Pursuit of Flight and even Deviant Glee to get him through. And I like having more creatures, so that's always good. Slitherhead, I guess, is maybe an option. He kind of synergizes with Launch Party. It's kind of a poor excuse, though, to run a 1/1. So I don't think I'll be doing that. I think for this 23rd card, I want it to be a creature. We only have 13 so far. And out of all of these guys, I guess it's between Tenement Crasher and, I guess, not Batterhorn, but No, we are running the 2 Cobble Brews, never mind. I guess it's Tenement Crasher. Perilous Shadow, I just don't think we have the mana to make him work. I don't want any double blacks, because we have so many double red cards. We have an Ash Zealot, a Frostborn Weird, yeah. Okay. I think this is fine. I guess we could play a Vishino Racketeer instead of the Tenement Crasher. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I don't really want to play more than 1 6-drop. Vishino Racketeer is pretty unexciting though when you get down to it. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to take him out. He's just a card that I don't want to play. He's better suited in Izzet that has more of these types of tricks to get him through. We only have the 1 Teleportal and 1 Pursuit of Flight, so I don't think he's a go. But we'll definitely put our 2 Fixer lands in, and yeah, this is not correct. So we don't need any islands. That's wrong. It's confused because we have the Frostborn Weird, and I think we want at least 6 swamps. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 black cards, and they only really need 1 black source to get going. This gives us 11 mountains. I think I mean, we have so many 2-drop red cards that might be necessary. I could bump it up, do 10-7. That might be better. Okay, well, here we go with Rakdos, a guild that I admit I'm not in that often. I think the cards really have to be open for this deck to get there. This looks like a pretty good deck. You know, you don't always have Guild Mage, you don't have so many Splatter Thugs and Lobber Crews and such. We didn't get any Dead Revelers, but I think someone moved into black later on in the draft. Maybe when we passed that Dead Reveler in Pack 2, and Golgari was open at the end of Pack 1, someone got the hint and jumped into Golgari. Anyways, in we go.